of how to avoid being broke. Because even personally, from my point of view, I've been broke. And I have some exciting life stories that maybe I'll share on another platform on what I did when I was broke at that particular time. But I thank God that I picked up a few skills here and there that helped me to avoid being broke. And I think this is the right time for me to share with you these topics because currently the economy is not doing so well in Kenya. Expenses, prices are skyrocketing. People are really struggling even to put, or rather to afford 3 meals per day. And it's becoming unsustainable. So I think it is better for us to try and now gain these habits that will help us maintain or work within our means so that at the end of the day, we don't end up being broke. And mostly for salaried people, there is this thing in Kenya that your salary runs faster, leaves your account faster than it came in a way that you're paid on the 1st or on the 25th, on the 27th, you have nothing to show off that salary and you can't even account for it. So it's not sustainable in the long run. But when you see such people, somebody's earning 150K, 250,000, even 20,000, and at the end of the day, it reaches mid-month and they are now taking loans on top of loans. Why? Because they either overspent, they never tracked their expenses, they never had a good budget, or rather they had a budget, but they did not stick on that budget. So they end up being broke. And that is why today I have been necessitated to come up with this topic. How can we avoid being broke? How can we work with what we have? How can we live within our means? So that by the end of the month, you you can still be able to meet an expense, one or two, or even you have savings, you have an emergency fund account, savings that can help you, or you can use those savings on a rainy day. So what are some of these tips that we can consider, or rather what are some of these skills or other habits that we can consider taking them up so that we try and improve our financial health? Okay, so the first thing is, when you want to avoid being broke, create a budget and stick to it. Most of us are usually, yes, we have a budget before we have that money at hand. But the moment that money hits our accounts or the moment we are given that money, then we tend to now have these good new ideas that deviate us from the budget we had planned. So what I always advise people is always observe the 50-30-20 rule. And I think that link or the video is somewhere within my catalog. So you can just check the video and look at it. How best can you use this rule to proper budget your finances? The 50-30-20 rule. The 50% is usually the essentials. The 30% is usually the wants. And the 20% is usually the needs. So you must make sure you observe this 50-30-20 rule as far as your budgeting is concerned. So that 20% of your total earnings should go to savings, should go to investments. 30% should go to wants, whatever you want to do, let's say personal expenses, etc., etc. 50% should be dedicated to your expenses. That is rental expense, utilities, what is it called? Groceries, rent, this other one, electricity or water bills. That is where you need to get those expenses from. Now, you are there seated and you have this money at hand, then an exciting idea comes in and you find out that you cannot even, instead of using the 20% for savings, you have redirected it to other expenses. And that is the start of that problem because it will reach a point where you'll end up being broke. So if you want to prevent yourself from being broke, remember to use the 50-30-20% to come up with your budget and create that budget and stick to it on a month-to-month basis. This should help you avoid being broke. Now, another thing is prioritize savings. Prioritize savings. If you are working, you need to have two accounts, and that is non-negotiable. Savings and the emergency fund account. Now, on the savings, you can split it into two. Maybe this is what I'll be saving in an account that I can access easily. And also you can split that on maybe the low risk investment, such as money market fund account. The emergency fund will help you should there be any emergency issue that you need to handle. You can simply go to that fund without necessarily affecting the savings or the investment fund account that you have. You must also automate this because practically, assuming you are earning 40,000 per month, then 10% of that amount, or even 20% of that amount, is dedicated to savings. So that means you are saving 8,000 on a month to month basis. Come at the end of the year, you have 72,000 in savings. I can only imagine how much you will earn from the same 72,000 had you invested half of it or all of it in a money market fund account or a SACCO. So what am I saying? You need to prioritize saving. That is something which you cannot negotiate with it. You must prioritize savings because if you follow the 50-30-20 rule and you save 8,000, I believe by the end of the year you won't be broke. You'll be having an account that you can work with. So for you to be able to avoid being broke, always prioritize savings from your entire earnings. Now, another thing is you're supposed to set clear financial goals. And you're also supposed to be realistic because if you're in the bracket of, let's say, you're earning 40,000 or 50,000, you cannot have a plan that by the end of the year I need to build a house of 20 million or I need to purchase a phone worth 110,000 or 150,000. You are supposed to set clear financial goals that are realistic and they match to the income you're receiving. So assuming maybe you want to buy a phone of, let's say, 20,000, that is a financial goal that you're supposed to work towards. Now, what will you do? You decide that out of the income I'm receiving, I'll be saving 3,500 monthly until I reach my target. Then I buy my phone. So it is not an emergency for you to go and take this 40,000. Now I had said that I'll spend 30 and 20% and assign it to my needs and savings. But because I need this phone right now, I'm going to buy it right now. You will end up being broke before the month ends. You will end up being broke before the month ends. But if you sit down and clearly plan, these are my financial goals to have a phone, and I have 5 months for me to be able to acquire this phone. So I'll save 3,000 monthly, or 3,000, or even 4,000 for the next 4 months. So that by the time I need this phone, I simply withdraw the 20,000 and buy the phone that I need. But I will have done that when my financial health is guaranteed. But the moment I just go and take the 20,000 at once and you're earning 40,000, pay it, now you have 50%. The 50% is supposed to be dedicated to your expenses, your wants, and lastly, your savings. How will you distribute it? You will end up being broke before the month ends. So for you to be able to avoid being broke, remember to set clear financial goals that are realistic based on the income that you earn. Now, another part is, and this is something which has, at one point, each one of us has experienced it, avoid impulse buying. It is November. Every e-commerce platform out there is selling this Black Friday thing, I think Black November thing, and you're there scrolling and you see this awesome merchandise that you want to buy, discounted rate apparently. So you go there with impulse buying. Money has just hit your account, you remove it and buy whatever you want to buy. At the end of the month or even mid-month, you're broke and you're looking for who can loan me what. So you have this merchandise, but at what cost? So we need to avoid impulse buying. And another thing which I want to give you a practical example, these people who love, let's say, takeouts. Every day you have to purchase, let's say, a meal at 250 shillings. And in fact, this is usually the people who work at the offices usually experience this a lot. So you work at the office and every time your lunch is 250 shillings. So that means per month you will have spent around 7,500. Do you know that is somebody's shopping? So we can simply what I'm saying is, we can simply try to avoid the impulse buying by properly managing our resources. So when you see something that excites you, and I advise you to plan for it, other than buying it with impulse because maybe the way it has been marketed, there is some offer discount there. If you had not planned for it, please do not purchase it. If it is something you can do away with, please do not purchase it. Plan for it, set a clear financial goal, set maybe a savings account for towards purchasing that merchandise, then buy it when you have the funds ready. But don't buy it out of impulse, okay? Then another thing is we need to consider building multiple streams of income. We are all, if you're working somewhere, if you have a skill, let's say you can do writing, let's say you can do affiliate marketing for platforms like for e-commerce platforms, there are very several. Let's say you can also do any other thing that you can do, mostly this we have these platforms where currently I see young people signing for them, and that is uh, not coding but rather labeling platforms where you can also sign up, do some tasks, and get paid. So you are supposed to see, what can I do to complement my income? Yes, this is what I'm being paid on a month-to-month basis, and that is okay. But what is the other thing that you can do to complement this income? Are you able to do online writing during your weekends or during when you're at home? If so, please do it. Can you do affiliate marketing for e-commerce platforms out there? Please do it. You can even have a side hustle. Nowadays, students out there are buying clothes, they're selling it online. I go through my WhatsApp and I see people advertising dresses, shoes. These are my friends, I promote them. So why don't you consider doing that? Something that can complement your income. This will prevent you from being broke at one point within the month or even within the year, because you have something that complements your income. So we need to consider building multiple income streams. That is one way that will prevent us from being broke. Now, another thing, you're supposed to consider saving your money through low risk investments like money market funds. You can also consider SACCOs. And this is a very good thing, because if, let's say, you're saving 5,000 monthly and you're earning annual interest rates of between 10 to 15% per annum, I think that can be good. There are several money market fund accounts out there. We have Britam, we have CIC, we have Sanlam with very good and attractive interest rates. And you see, for money market fund, you can easily access your money. It is a low risk investment. Instead of putting your money into a fixed deposit account where you're promised interest rates as low as 3% per annum, why don't you take this money, put it in a money market fund account, and see your savings grow? Your money is working for you. It might be little, but it is sustainable. So these are also things which you're supposed to consider. These are also things which you're supposed to put your money into. Okay? Then another thing is avoid unnecessary debt. And I think right now that is like cancer in Kenya. Everyone has debts. Currently, we have Fuliza, we have Mshwari, we have several platforms that are giving us opportunities where you can just get money, then pay it back. We also have the loan sharks who are after your salary. Are you salary? Do you have pay slips? Come, let us organize something for you within the next 6 months. So you'll find out that the moment you start taking them, you'll be you with somebody who's living hand to mouth, there is no difference. Because you receive your salary, you pay loans. You receive your salary, you pay loans. It is not sustainable in the long run. You go there because of pressure, you need to buy a car on a loan. Is it necessary? Can you live without it? Does it make sense for you to take a loan? And I will have to make a video on that. Okay? So these are things which we can avoid. If you want to avoid being broke, kindly, if you can manage yourself within your means and avoid taking debts and avoid taking loans, I think you will prevent yourself from being broke. There are people, even recently, there is a member of parliament who shared his payslip, and out of the entire amount that they are being paid, he's only left with a net of 2,000. Too many deductions, too many deductions. And you can imagine, I've witnessed people sharing their pay slips. They are being paid 150,000 only to take 5,000 at home. Why? There is a car loan, there is a mortgage loan, there is the education loan, help. There are too many loans, too many loans. Okay? So we need to try as much as possible to put the debt and the loan issue to the minimum and only take it when it is necessary. Okay? Then let us kindly plan to join a SACCO. if you're out there and you're thinking about, okay, what investment can I take, you can even think about joining a SACCO, because SACCOs are good places where you can let your money work for you in this sense. So you are assured that you have contributed, let's say 3 months, you've paid your premiums for 3 months, then you can take thrice the loan of your savings, which I think if you have a better plan of it, maybe opening a business. So you've been saving in this specific circle, let's say this amount of money, then it reaches 3 months, then you apply for a loan and you take that loan and open a business. So it helps you grow. Okay, so this is another good way of investing. So you have a long-term plan of maybe expanding your business. This is the way to go. You have a long-term plan of maybe opening a business. This is the way to go. Okay, so I will advise you, maybe instead of just piling your money in some account as your savings, kindly try and see, out of my savings, what amount can I put on this investment, what amount can I put on this investment, and what amount do I need to maintain it here. Okay, so that you can move. Now another thing is, we need to consider investing in skill development, and this is something that I've always emphasized, even in the video that I did, where I'm trying to advise people to specialize other than being a jack of all trades. We all need to add a skill on top of what we have, so that we maintain competitive within the market, within the job market. So when you're going to add a skill, there are several platforms where you can do this. Online platforms like Coursera, you go there, you learn, and it certifies you. You can also consider going to Udemy. Nowadays, I see there are copyright online classes, there are coding 6 months online classes. You can take these classes and equip yourself with some extra skills, digital marketing, graphic designs, and earn from online platforms like Canva. You can go and upskill yourself and maybe work as a freelancer at Upwork, because I have this skill. Okay, I have a job, but I also have this skill, so I can do it as a side hustle. So always try to empower yourself skill wise. Always try to add a skill to yourself. By doing this, you'll find out that yes, you are employed or you have a business, but you also have a side hustle. You're utilizing your skill, you're making your skill to work for you. So when you're doing this, you're also increasing definitely your income mainstreams. And that means you will be preventing yourself from being broke in the long run. Okay? Then there is something that I really want to talk about. And I've also noticed, it took me a while to notice, but in the long run, I realized this thing is draining me financially. I will create a different topic on that specific segment. But for now, let me just share it so that one or two people can also do your math and ask yourself, does it make any sense? Now, how much do you spend on your airtime and data on a day-to-day basis? You can do the math. For me, I have Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi that I'm working with, and at times I rarely use my phone because I do WhatsApp calls, online calls, etc., etc. But when my Wi-Fi is down, personally, I've calculated I spend almost 500 shillings on airtime alone. Because now I have to buy credit, call who, buy credit, call who, buy credit, call who. And when I realized that, that is when I preferred going for the monthly packages, which are quite affordable. You take 1,000 and you're given an awesome package based on the service provider that you're using. You find out that maybe you have 35 GB, you have, let's say, 400 or even 600 minutes, you have 1,000 SMSs, and that means for an entire month you can track it. Like for this month, I'm allocating only 1,000 on my data. For this month, I'm allocating only this on my data. And that now becomes you taking charge of the expenses you're putting on your data and airtime. Another thing, instead of buying the data, you can even consider maybe getting yourself a Wi-Fi package based on your usage. Nowadays, there are packages as low as 1,500 in Kenya. We have packages as low as 2,000. Trust me. Do your own calculation. How much do you use on data and allowance? If you're somebody who is online every now and then, I bet you it is almost 5,000. So when you plan yourself and let's say, okay, let me spend 1,500 on Wi-Fi and 1,000, let's say, on my monthly airtime package, that will be 2,500, and it will be way less than what you're using. So let us also consider this, because airtime and data is that thing that you really don't focus on, but in real sense, it is eating you up. You don't really focus on, because you have money on your M-Pesa and you're like, let me call this person. You purchase a 3-hour package, you purchase a 1-hour package, by the time you're looking at your balance, you're like, I had 1,000. How comes I have only 300? Little do you know that that little thing that you're not paying attention to, the airtime and data issue, is eating up on your finances. So long-term habits, first of all, let us track our expenses. Kindly, let us track our expenses. Another thing is let us plan for emergencies. And the first one is track your expenses. Second, plan for emergencies. Third, create a budget and stick to it. Create a budget and stick to it. Okay, so I think that is all for this video, and I believe with all the points that I've shared, somebody out there will be able to gain a skill or two. Because my prayers is, apologies for that, that is my son. My prayer is that all we all put ourselves in a position where we can be accountable and about our expenses, because we are tracking them. We are able to save, we are able to plan for emergencies, and we are able to budget well and stick to it. With that said and done, I want to thank you so much for watching me towards the end of this video. Remember, as usual, like and subscribe. I'll really use a thumbs up for this video. Thank you so much and have a good day. Thank you.